Then Jeannie Buss went public and said something about Luka Dončić that no NBA owner has ever said about a superstar they just traded for. She didn't dodge questions. She revealed exactly how he reacted when he found out about the trade and what she has noticed from him since putting on that purple and gold. But here is the bigger issue nobody wants to say out loud. Is his behavior on the court about to push her into making another massive decision? Let's rewind to the move that shook the league. On February 2, 2025, the Los Angeles Lakers sent Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick to the Dallas Mavericks for Dončić. Nobody saw that coming. Dallas was 26-23, sitting 8th in the West, not collapsing, not tanking, just floating in the playoff race. And still, boom, franchise centerpiece gone overnight. Mavericks GM Nico Harrison said he only talked to the Lakers. He did not shop Dončić around the league. He also confirmed that Dončić never asked out and never showed hesitation about signing an extension. Let that sink in. Your superstar did not demand out. He did not create drama, and you still pulled the trigger. Harrison even told reporters, "We definitely understand the magnitude of what just transpired," and joked he would not be GM for long if this failed. That was not really a joke. That was pressure talking. Now here is where it turns into a straight poker match. Buss admitted she kept the deal so quiet that even head coach J.J. Redick and key players like LeBron James had no clue until it was done. Think about that. LeBron, the guy people swear has influence on every roster move, found out when the ink was already dry. Redick, the head coach, also in the dark. That tells you this was not collaboration. This was control. Buss said she learned from her father, Jerry Buss, about waiting for the perfect moment and then going all in. She claimed the Lakers were not actively trying to move Davis or Christie, but when a talent like Dončić becomes available, you do not hesitate. You act. And then she slipped in a subtle jab at Anthony Davis that many people brushed past like it was nothing. But it was not nothing. It sounded like a message about durability, commitment, and who the franchise truly believes in moving forward. Buss admitted that Anthony Davis had been frustrated about how he was being used on the court and where he was playing, and she hinted that this trade might have been a relief for everyone involved. She even praised how secretive both sides were, saying, "I'm really proud that it didn't leak out." That alone tells you how carefully this was handled behind closed doors. The deal goes through, the basketball world explodes, and suddenly Luka Dončić is wearing purple and gold. Everyone assumes he must be thrilled, right? Hollywood lights, championship banners, legends everywhere. You just got traded to the Los Angeles Lakers, the franchise of Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kobe Bryant. Most players would walk in like they owned the building, but that is not what happened. In August 2025, Jeannie Buss sat down for an interview on Slovenian radio and said something that stopped fans cold. "Nobody knew the trade was going to happen. I knew, and he didn't know. I've never had a player come to the Lakers and be as sad as he was. He had to process what happened. That word matters. Sad. Not annoyed, not shocked, sad. Like someone trying to understand why their world just flipped upside down. Think about who Dončić was in Dallas from day one with the Dallas Mavericks. He was the franchise, the golden centerpiece. Everything revolved around him. There was loyalty.
Even if they fell short, he was still their guy. Fans would have ridden with him for 15 years if that is what it took. They did it before with Dirk Nowitzki, who stayed 14 seasons before finally winning in 2011. That kind of unconditional love builds confidence. It builds identity. Luka's the man in Dallas for all of these years. He could do no wrong. Dallas, no matter what, you are the guy. We love you no matter what. If Luka spends the rest of his career in LA and they don't win, he's not going to be a beloved Laker. But the Lakers are not built on patience. They are built on banners. Buss made that clear in a February 2026 interview when she said, "I think Laker fans have a lot to look forward to. We're about winning and wanting to add more trophies. That is not a development project. That is pressure." She called Dončić an illusionist because of his passing and creativity. She labeled him a must-see attraction. She made it clear he is the new face of the franchise. That is praise, yes, but it is also expectation screaming from the rooftops. Over the summer of 2025, something shifted. Buss noticed he looked more settled when playing for Slovenia at Eurobasket. The Lakers even sent a coach to support Slovenia's national team, showing how invested they were in helping him feel grounded. She pointed to his admiration for Kobe Bryant, someone he met as a teenager, and highlighted moments like donating to restore a vandalized Kobe mural in May 2025. Those are not random gestures. That is someone trying to connect to the history, trying to belong. From Buss's side, the message has been nothing but confidence. She denied that LeBron James had any issues with the move. She emphasized Doncic's all-star fan vote numbers and global poll. She painted a picture of a franchise fully committed to him. But while ownership talks about trophies and bright futures, there is another conversation happening in living rooms, on podcasts, and inside arenas. Because what Doncic has been doing on the court since putting on that Lakers jersey has driven people crazy. And it is not his scoring, it is not the highlight passes, it is something that has followed him from Dallas like a shadow he cannot shake. The constant arguing with referees, the non-stop reactions, the body language. This is not new. It started his rookie year and has grown louder every season. And now in Los Angeles, under the brightest lights in basketball, that habit is no longer background noise. It is front and center, and people are counting every single time it happens. Now, let's talk numbers, because this is not just he complains sometimes. This is documented season after season. By June 2024, Luka Dončić had piled up 78 regular season technical fouls and 9 more in the playoffs. A big chunk of those came directly from arguing with referees. That is not random emotion. That is a pattern. And now, in the 2025 to 2026 season with the Los Angeles Lakers, he is already sitting around 13 technicals with months left to play, on pace for a career high and ranking near the top of the league. In Los Angeles, that kind of stat does not stay quiet. Let's rewind to where this really started. February 12, 2020, second NBA season, the Dallas Mavericks versus the Sacramento Kings. Doncic drives, feels contact, no whistle. He turns and goes straight at referee Mark Ayotte and gets hit with a technical. But what made it messy was Kings head coach Luke Walton standing nearby, sarcastically telling Doncic, "Give the ref his autograph." That comment suggested the officials were favoring the young star. Walton got a technical too. Social media exploded. Some fans said Luka was already getting superstar treatment. Others said he was just competing hard. He finished with 33 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists in a win, but the seed was planted. Then came August 30th, 2020. Inside the NBA bubble, Game 6 against the Los Angeles Clippers. Emotions were high. Marcus Morris Sr. had already been ejected earlier. Coach Rick Carlisle got tossed too. 6 technicals in one game. In the third quarter, after a disputed call by referee Mark Davis, Doncic threw the ball toward the official and earned another technical. Later, the NBA fined him $15,000.
But the headlines were not about his stat line. They were about his reactions. May 2021 against the Kings. He again, and it turned into a spectacle. He picked up 2 technicals in seconds. After an offensive foul call, he yelled, "Hell nah," and shook his fist at referee Rodney Mott. Technical. Moments later, he launched the ball down the court in frustration. Second technical. Ejected. That brought his season total to 15 technicals, just one short of an automatic suspension. Carlisle even picked up a tech in the same sequence. Dallas lost 111 to 999. The league reviewed both calls and upheld them. The referee told reporters the first was for a disrespectful response and the second for throwing the ball in an overt manner. Fans were not just worried about that game, they were worried about whether their franchise star could control himself long enough to stay available. Underneath, they're going to put it in and one and the foul. Oh, by the way, when he caught the pass, he was a good 8 feet behind the three-point line, but wide open. Then March 22, 2023, at Chase Center against the Golden State Warriors. After another no call on a drive, Doncic did something that shocked even longtime critics. He made a money sign gesture toward referee Kevin Scott, rubbing his fingers together, implying bias. That earned him a technical and a $35,000 fine, the largest of his career at that point. Dallas lost 127 to 125. He scored 30 again, but once more the conversation shifted. Some fans said it was bold, others said it was reckless. This is the thread that keeps showing up.
big performances, big emotions, and moments where the focus drifts from the opponent to the officials. In Dallas, it was frustrating, but tolerated. In Los Angeles, under banners and bright lights, every technical feels heavier, every gesture gets replayed 10 times, and the question hanging over all of it is simple. At what point does passion turn into a liability? By the time the 2024 finals rolled around, even his biggest supporters admitted one thing: Luka Dončić could not leave the referees alone. June 12, 2024, NBA Finals, Game 3 against the Boston Celtics. The Dallas Mavericks were already down 0-2 and fighting to keep their season alive. Dončić fouled out with 4 minutes and 12 seconds left in the fourth quarter. 6 fouls, 4 of them in the final period. A lot of them were defensive reaches and bad positioning, not superstar-level discipline. After the game, he said, "We couldn't play physical. 6 fouls in the NBA Finals. Come on, man, be better than that." Dallas lost 106-99 and fell to 0-3. No team has ever come back from 3-0 in the finals. The season was basically cooked. The reactions were brutal. One fan wrote sarcastically, "Luka is complaining about fouls. This is so out of character." Another said he was throwing himself around and needed to learn real defense. A more balanced take pointed out that the refs were letting both sides play, and if you are not set, do not try to sell a charge. Sure, Mavericks fans argued he was robbed, but in the biggest moment of his career, the narrative was not about his brilliance, it was about the arguing. That was the version of Dončić who left Dallas. Elite talent, generational skill, 2 visible flaws. Everyone talked about conditioning and constant complaints. When the Los Angeles Lakers traded for him, there was real hope that the pressure of purple and gold would sharpen him up, that the bright lights would force growth. It did not. Since arriving in Los Angeles, the referee drama has not slowed down. If anything, media members say it looks like peak Dallas all over again. And in LA, everything is louder. April 8, 2025, road game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dončić got his first technical for directing profanity at referee J.T. Orr in the third quarter. Then in the fourth, with the Lakers up 108-107 and 7:40 left, he exchanged words with a courtside fan named Jeremy Price after a made basket. Referee Orr thought it was directed at him. Second technical, ejected. The Lakers were up 1 when he left. They collapsed and lost 136-120. The NBA rescinded the second technical the next day, admitting it was a mistake. The fan confirmed it was mutual banter. But guess what? The loss still counted. One fan said it perfectly. The loss doesn't get rescinded, though. Another joked, "Now bring the teams back and reset the clock." Funny, but the damage was real, and that first technical was still on Luka. December 10th, 2025, again, Oklahoma City. He drove, got elbowed in the eye by Kelly Olynyk. Commentator Stan Van Gundy said on air, it should have been a foul, maybe even a flagrant. No call. Dončić argued. Technical.
The Lakers lost again. Was he right to be upset? Sure, but here is the issue. When you argue every single play, referees stop listening. One fan nailed it. Luka whines after every play. His incessant whining lost him credibility. Another joked he was like the boy who cried wolf. And sometimes the wolf is real, but nobody believes you anymore. He passes it to LeBron, but LeBron's got his back to the basket from the three-point line, so he's got to take this fadeaway 3. What do they all do? Oh, they're really good at playmaking and shot-making, and none of the 3 play. January 15th, 2026, against the Charlotte Hornets. He complained about a no call, jogged back slowly, gave up a wide-open 3, and picked up another technical in a 135-117 loss. After the game, Lakers guard Marcus Smart publicly mentioned the team talking too much. When a teammate is hinting through the media that you need to tone it down, that is no longer just fan noise. That is locker room tension. Then, February 25th, 2026, the revenge game in Dallas, the building where he used to be untouchable. 3 minutes into the first quarter, he argued a missed call on a drive. Technical 3 minutes. That was his 13th of the season, putting him on track for a career high. In the arena that once treated him like royalty, he was picking up technicals before the popcorn was warm. That is when the media firestorm hit. Zach Lowe went on his podcast and unloaded. He called the behavior unwatchable. He said, "It's every play. Just play, man. Not everything is a foul. Are you playing to draw a foul or playing basketball? Are you playing one-on-one with the refs? It's every single possession. Now it's back to Dallas levels. It's unwatchable. When respected voices start using words like that, it stops being a minor flaw. It becomes the headline. Zach Lowe did not hold back. He pointed out that even though Luka Dončić is leading the league in scoring at around 32.5 points per game and getting to the line over 10 times a night, the non-stop arguing wrecks the flow of the game. It hurts transition defense, it creates 5-on-4 situations, and it distracts from everything he actually does well. Lowe's message was simple: control what you can control. Stop trying to work the refs every single possession. Then Tim McMahon went on ESPN's Get Up and said the complaining is one of Luka's two glaring flaws, right next to conditioning. He said he is crying as much as he ever has. That is not subtle. Bomani Jones took it even further, saying the Luka experience has not been great for the Los Angeles Lakers and that he comports himself like a loser. Former player Jeff Teague said he makes the Lakers boring because you cry the whole game. Chandler Parsons called him a foul baiter. Max Kellerman piled on. The noise kept growing, and then it hit a different level. The Lakers' own broadcast team said on air, "Again, he's complaining. Gotta get back on defense, it's 5-on-4. That is your own crew calling you out live, not rivals, not a podcast hunting clicks. The people paid to hype you up, sounding fed up, and right on cue, while Luka was arguing, the other team scored. Easy bucket. That is the price of yelling at a ref who already moved on." Online, the reaction matched the tone. On Reddit, threads about Lowe's rant blew up with hundreds of upvotes. Fans said he is a great talent, but the complaining leads to 5-on-4 the other way. On X, people said the Lakers are a tough watch now. Mavericks fans chimed in with, "We told you so." Some comments went straight for the jugular, saying the trade shook him mentally. Others called it infuriating and embarrassing and demanded a wake-up call. The consensus started forming. Something has to change. But here is the real issue. The complaining is just the symptom. The bigger problem is structural defense, or the lack of it. Critics have called him a defensive liability. Opponents target him on switches every chance they get. Sam Mitchell said Luka is the Lakers' biggest problem because he does not defend and holds teammates to a different standard than himself. That is strong language. Posts on NBA forums describe him as the opposite of a defensive anchor. Even former Mavericks fans who followed him to LA admit that when he's tired or disengaged, the defense drops off fast. Look at February 24, 2026 against the Orlando Magic. Final possession, wild back-and-forth finish. The ball ends up in Luka's hands. Wide open look, a shot he takes every night. He hesitates. One dribble, picks it up, passes to LeBron James with his back to the basket and almost no time left. Fadeaway three. Miss. Game over. Afterward, Luka said, "I know it was open, but I just thought it was a little bit far." LeBron stayed diplomatic, saying it looked like Luka lost his balance.